This is the first in a series of videos we're going to be doing explaining some of the products that we sell. At the moment we've got cross members for standard Escorts and RS2000. Now what we've got here is two genuine Ford ones, and then over here we've got ones that remanufacture. But first what I'm going to do is go through the genuine Ford ones and explain the differences between a standard Escort cross member, which is this one here, and an RS2000 one. So the first thing to notice is that this is heavier than this one, not by much, but a little bit. And the reason for that is that Ford, when they put the Pinto into an RS2000, they also used Capri legs, Capri front struts. Now the geometry on a Capri front strut is slightly different. So the first thing that they did to correct the geometry was this hole here for the TCA position. If you look at it compared to the RS2000 one, you can see it's further up. So the standard one comes out around here, and then this one is higher up. It's also slightly wider as well. Along with that, they also incorporated an extra gusset here on both sides to strengthen it. And here, quite crudely, Ford looks like what they've done is run a chisel down here to give clearance for the TCA, because the TCA is now further down. They also incorporated an extra gusset here. So if I turn these over and we look at the standard Escort one, you can see the shape of it there. And now if you look at the RS2000 one, you can see that that part there has been split and that bit's lower down. The other thing they did was put an additional gusset in here. And you can see that it's all done very crudely. So if we compare those two together, then you can see that that one there, you can see all the way into the bottom there. And normally when you drop your engine mount bolt, that ends up down the bottom there. So that's the difference between the two RS2000 ones. Now, on an RS2000, these points here, they're identical from a standard Escort to an RS2000. The steering rack position is identical. So it's only dimensionally, the only thing that changes is these are further up and they've beefed up the cross member. So if we start by, I'll remove this one, put it over here. And this is the one that we've remanufactured, which is now, as you can see, dimensionally the same as a genuine Ford one. Although it's manufactured in a different process, because this here has been pressed as one piece, and the tooling and the tonnage required to do that, it's not something for the numbers we do would make sense. So you can see ours is fabricated. So in essence, these parts are in the same dimensions, all these are in the same dimensions. Chassis rail height, everything's identical on a standard cross member. We've put an extra gusset in here on the standard cross member just to give it a bit more strength. So they're available off the website. Part number for them is SS034. They're in stock should you need one of those. The reason for remanufacturing these is that typically you would use, if you're putting a replacement cross member in, you'd use a well-cut cross member. Now I have got a well-cut cross member over here, which I'll quickly show you. Now a well-cut cross member uses a leaf spring type bush here. Now it's a very good location, and on rally cars where should the car roll and you wouldn't want the engine to break free out of the car, or when you're in the woods jumping in a rally car and the engine can tend to bounce and hit off the steering rack, this is ideal. Also ideal in a fast road car, but they transmit a little bit more vibration over a standard rubber type mount, which is, these have like a 50mm bobbin on them for a Pinto and for a crossflow. So let me remove this one, and then we'll move on to the RS2000 cross member. So that's the standard one. And now if you look, we have a genuine Ford. These are very, very rare. Thankfully, a customer lent this to us. Obviously, I've explained all the extra gussets in that. So what we've done is we've now remanufactured that. So as you can see, the gussets around here, it's got an extra gusset in there, which is the same as the RS2000 one. So if you look at that, the RS2000 one there's got the extra gusset there. We haven't gone all the way down here because this is thicker steel. It's overkill, and to be honest, because Ford never made a massive number of these, then they would have grabbed one of these off of the production line and modified it. So they're subtly different, but they're not as pretty as we would like to make them. So that also means that we incorporate the TCAs with a higher bolt hole, which means that we have to cut this part out and then lay a piece in here to give clearance for the TCAs. So should you be running Capri struts, which most people are with a detachable steering arm, then a Capri stroke RS2000 front strut is the same strut, or a Bilstein, then these are ideal for that because it does correct the geometry. And as you can see, we've incorporated all the things that would be on the RS2000 one. So you can have the option to use this one, which is just a copy of the genuine Ford original, or the RS2000 one. Again, dimensionally, it's exactly the same, only difference being is the TCA points have come up. And again, if you're using RS2000 or Bilstein struts, this corrects the geometry, but these will still work fine with a Capri strut with standard steering arms on. But this is what Ford did to get the geometry perfect. So it also helps if you're lowering the car, because when you lower a car, you don't want the TCA to become past horizontal. So if you lift that up, you can then lower the car more, which effectively means that you don't run into the TCAs going past horizontal. So that's a quick roundup of both of those cross members. Both of these cross members are on the website. You've got the option to have them raw finish or powder coated. Thanks very much for watching. Hope that explains the cross members for you.